it's Cassie and welcome back to my channel. Ignore my huge pimple on my face. But today's video is going to be my October wrap-up. I'll just be honest, I didn't read a lot during October, but I enjoyed every book that I read, so that's a win. Let's get right into the wrap-up. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and give it a big thumbs up. Both those would mean the absolute world to me. Comment down below what you read in October. Turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload from me. My Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, and Amazon wishlist will be linked in the description box below if you're interested in checking any of those out. And let's just get into the wrap-up. For October was very based around spooky reads, mystery, thriller, horror type of stuff, just for the season. And I loved it. I did not read A Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix, and I did not read The Mary Shelley Club by Goldie Moldavsky, but both of those are on my November TBR. And when I'm filming this, I just finished this a bit ago, like an hour ago, and you're definitely gonna want to see my thoughts on that. But let's go into the books that I did read, because those are what this video is about. So technically first I picked up 13 by Steve Kavanaugh, but we didn't finish that for a while, so that comes up later. The first book that I finished in October was what is it called? As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson, which is the third and final installment in the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. And I am having a full vlog, dedicated vlog to reading this coming out. I think I'm gonna post this first though. This has not been like my favorite series ever, but it's a pretty good, decent series. I know lots of people like absolutely love it, but when reading reviews after I finished this tended to be people that loved the series hated this one, it seems. I gave this 3.5/4 stars. I'm really still like, I don't know. So I have it as 4 stars on my Goodreads. This still follows Pip after the aftermath of books 1 and 2, so I can't overly say what it's about, but there are some crazy twists in here, some good, some that were not my favorite, and some that would have been so good if they were just in a different series. But if you want to know any of that, it'll be in my vlog. It'll have spoiler free and spoilery parts in it as well. If you want to be spoiled or not, you can check out that vlog and hear more in-depth thoughts on this one. Then during Thrillathon, I first picked up In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead, and oh my goodness. First, I will also have a dedicated reading vlog to Thrillathon coming up. This fulfilled the prompts read a mystery and read a thriller. Honestly, some parts in here could be considered a slasher, so kind of read a slasher, but I give this 5 stars. I absolutely love this. I freaking love this book, and you need to read it. I thought it was so good. Just like a solid thriller. It's a psychological thriller, which I could see some parts of it being. It has a morally gray, unreliable narrator type of situation, and in this book we follow, what's her name, Jessica Miller, who is back to her college for her 10-year reunion, and all she wants to do is make everyone jealous and show off how well she's doing since college. But 10 years ago, when she was at college, her best friend got murdered, and they never really caught who did it. It seems as though someone orchestrated this whole reunion weekend to finding out who really killed Heather. And let me just say, the twists and turns were amazing. There was like, you did not trust anyone. This is definitely getting hyped right now, and I could not agree more. But yeah, definitely 5 stars. Definitely one of my favorite books I read in what year is it? 2021. You need to read it. Next, I finished 13 by Steve Kavanaugh. I started this at the very beginning of the month, and this is a book that I started like a year and a half ago, before I was, or maybe 2 years ago, honestly, I can't really remember, before I was getting back into reading. So I had read about 50 pages of this before, and I enjoyed it. I just never picked it back up. The serial killer isn't on trial, he's on the jury. The murder trial of century is here. A ruthless prosecutor, a brilliant defense lawyer, a defendant with a secret, and a serial killer on the jury. So this is in a, like, not series, but we follow Eddie Flynn, and there's a bunch of different books that Eddie Flynn is the main character in, because he is a lawyer. So it's not the same books, it's just the same main character. This said this is Eddie Flynn number 4, but I thought this was the first one in this series. But I would definitely consider reading all of the other books surrounding him. I'm not like in a super hurry to get them, but I will definitely get them eventually and read them eventually. I really enjoyed this. It was such an intricate story. Everything was intentional, and everything, I mean, Steve Kavanaugh is a genius. I think he's just really smart in a bunch of different areas, because there's clues from so many different like types of knowledge that someone would have, if that makes sense. Like there's some like US history stuff in here, which might sound like stupid, boring, whatever, but it's really actually interesting into how it connects to, it's not like a history lesson. I started at the beginning of the month, and then it took me a while to finish it, but it wasn't at all that I wasn't enjoying it. In fact, I gave it 5 stars because of the ending, and there was like only one part throughout this whole book that I didn't like, and it was one scene in a car, because it just didn't really make sense. Maybe if you've read this you'll know, but I just thought this was such a good and intricate murder mystery story of trying to catch a serial killer. I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend 5 stars. It kind of towed on the line of 4.5 stars, but I just couldn't give it 4.5 stars after the big twist at the ending. The final book that I read in October is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. So I actually did start this in Thrillathon, but I only got to page like 150 or something, maybe less. And then I was enjoying it, but I wasn't super into it. So I picked this back up, and I was reading these kind of at the same time. But then I decided to pick up the audiobook for this, and thank goodness I did. It really made my experience reading this 100 million times better. I think the beginning is a little slow in general, but once I picked up, it was really, really good, and I really enjoyed it. So in Ninth House, if you don't know, we're following Alex Stern after an accident at what they call Ground Zero. She was living a life of drugs and honestly just bad decisions. People that she was with ended up all dead except for her. And when she wakes up, there is a man at her bedside at the hospital. Reason that all those people died is still unknown. But when she wakes up from that incident, at her bedside she is offered a full ride to Yale, and she's not really sure why. Alex arrives in New Haven, tasked by her mysterious benefactors with monitoring the activities of Yale's secret societies. Their 8 windowless tombs are the well-known haunts of the rich and powerful, from high-ranking politicos to Wall Street's biggest players. Their activities are more sinister and more extraordinary than any paranoid imagination might conceive. They tamper with forbidden magic, they raise the dead, and sometimes they prey on the living. So what is not mentioned in the back of this is there is a missing person in this. There is dual POV, and I didn't realize that until I was listening to the audiobook. And I'm not sure if there was before, and I just didn't pick up on it from the writing. It's mostly from Alex's point of view, but there are some chapters that are from someone else's point of view. And I gave this 4 stars. This was my way of trying to get more into fantasy. Before even reading it, I knew it wasn't super into the fantasy elements. It has it, and it was definitely a good way for me to get into fantasy a bit, because it's not super heavy. I mean, I'm definitely, while I read fantasy books in the future, I'm definitely going to be having to listen to the audiobook still. For the most part, when I listened to the audiobook, I was reading along. I did listen to it in the car a couple times when I was driving, so obviously I couldn't do it then, but I definitely grasped the concepts and what was going on a lot more when I was following along. So as I get more into fantasy, I will be continuing to do that, just because that's the only way I think I'm going to be able to do it. I know this is some people's favorite books, but I give this a 4 stars. I definitely can see myself rereading this, enjoying it more. I just don't think I fully grasped it from the beginning, and so it was just like not super enjoyable for the first like maybe 200 pages. I can't fully remember 150 pages, but I will definitely be rereading this, but definitely be continuing the series when eventually it does continue. That's actually all I read in October. I had like a pretty good month. I found a favorite, I finished a series, and this was one of my most anticipated releases of 2021, so that's exciting. I dipped my toes into fantasy, which I've been waiting to do for a while, and I finished a book that I've had forever and I started and never finished. So I feel like that's a really solid month. I don't know about you guys, but I'll take it. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts are on them. I'd love to hear them. And again, let me know what you read in October. If you want to know what I'm reading in November, I'll link my November TBR. I'll try and remember. I forget literally every single time. But if you like this video, make sure to subscribe and give it a big thumbs up. Both those mean the absolute world to me. Turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload from me, because I have a bunch of videos filmed, just haven't posted yet, so watch out for those. My Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, and Amazon wishlist will be linked in the description box below if you're interested in checking them out. Yeah, watch out for all the vlogs for this reading month, and yeah, I will see you in my next one. Bye!